Silence is not weakness, privacy is not fear, restraint is not cowardice. In a world that rewards noise, constant sharing, and the illusion of connection, I challenge you to walk a different path, a quieter path, a deeper one, because the strongest tree does not shout about its roots, but it stands unshaken in the storm, because the sharpest blade makes no sound until it cuts, and the most powerful person in the room is not the loudest, but the one who understands when not to speak. Body, the power of secrecy. There is a sacred strength in keeping your life private. Not everything you think needs to be said. Not every plan you make needs to be shared. Not every emotion you feel needs to be explained. When you expose your goals too early, you invite opinions, distractions, envy, and interference. You hand over the blueprint of your temple to people who might want to tear it down. You must understand, silence is a kind of armor. Secrecy is a form of spiritual defense. The more others know, the more power they hold over your state of mind. If your energy leaks through your words, your strength will drain before the journey even begins. To keep your mouth shut is not suppression, it is discipline. It is not about bottling things inside, it is about choosing what deserves the light of day. A warrior trains in silence, a monk meditates in silence, a wise person listens more than they speak, because true growth happens. There is a sacred strength in keeping your life private. When you begin to understand this, your entire approach to life changes. In today's world, where everyone is eager to display every detail of their existence, from meals to moments of success, from plans to personal pain, choosing privacy becomes an act of rebellion, and more importantly, a sign of inner maturity. Not every thought that arises in your mind needs to be expressed. Not every dream you hold should be laid out for others to examine. Some things need to be protected, nurtured in silence, and allowed to grow in the dark, just like seeds buried beneath the soil. Exposure too soon can kill what is still forming. When you share your goals prematurely, you risk more than just judgment. You risk the loss of motivation. Validation can become a substitute for action. You feel good about telling people what you're going to do, but then you lose the hunger to actually do it. This is the trap. The mind begins to believe that talking about progress is equal to making progress, and that illusion weakens you. Worse, when others hear your plans, they often project their own fears, doubts, and limitations onto them. Suddenly, what was clear becomes clouded, what was strong becomes questioned. You must guard your vision like a flame in the wind, not hidden out of fear, but protected out of wisdom. Privacy allows clarity. It allows you to walk your path without the weight of others' expectations or misunderstandings. To keep your mouth shut is not suppression, it is discipline, and discipline is a form of self-respect. In silence there is immense power, because it requires strength to hold back words when emotions are rising or when ego demands to be heard. Most people speak to relieve pressure, to gain approval, to assert control, or to defend their identity. But true mastery lies in the one who does not need to explain, who does not feel the urge to constantly be understood. When you choose silence, you begin to separate yourself from impulsive reactions and shallow noise. You begin to listen not just to others but to yourself. You begin to observe your thoughts rather than become enslaved by them. Speaking less forces you to think more, it sharpens your mind. Words once spoken cannot be taken back, and often it is in moments of haste, anger, or insecurity that people say things they later regret. Discipline means understanding the consequences of speech and choosing restraint, not from fear but from control. It means allowing space between emotion and expression, between thought and action. That space is where wisdom lives. When you cultivate the habit of silence, you become more selective with your words. Each one becomes intentional. You stop talking just to fill the void. You begin to feel the power of presence, the weight of stillness. People start to notice not because you are loud, but because you carry something rare: stillness amidst chaos, calm amidst noise, control amidst impulsiveness. Start today. There is no perfect moment to begin practicing restraint, and there is no need to wait for permission to reclaim your energy. The discipline of silence begins not in some grand gesture, but in small, consistent choices. It starts when you resist the urge to explain yourself unnecessarily, when you decline to share your plans just for recognition, when you sit with your emotions instead of broadcasting them for validation. Each time you hold back from speaking just to be heard, you are sharpening your self-control. Keeping your plans to yourself is not secrecy born of fear, but wisdom rooted in strength. A silent plan is one that grows in peace, unshaken by outside opinions, untainted by premature praise or criticism. The world does not need to know what you're building while it's still being formed. Protect that energy. Let it mature in solitude. You owe no one access to your inner world until you decide they've earned that privilege. Begin to question your impulse to share. What is the intention behind your words? Are you seeking attention, approval, pity? If your reasons are not grounded in purpose, silence is often the better path. Not everyone listening to you wants to see you win, and not everyone hearing your dreams will understand them. So protect what is sacred. Keep your ambitions away from casual conversations and shallow ears. Learn to move without announcement, to grow without aid. Learn to sit in silence even when the world provokes you to react. This is not about becoming passive or indifferent, it is about becoming deliberate. When someone misunderstands you, criticizes you, or spreads falsehoods about you, the immediate instinct is to defend, to justify, to explain. But what if you didn't? What if you chose to remain unmoved, centered, focused on your path instead of the noise around it? This is where true strength is tested, not in your ability to speak, but in your ability to stay silent when silence serves you more than words ever could. Let people wonder. Let them make assumptions. Let them talk. Their opinions do not shape your truth, and their approval is not a requirement for your journey. The more you try to correct the world's perception of you, the more you become a prisoner to it. There is great freedom in no longer needing to be understood. There is peace in letting others be wrong about you. The only validation that matters is the one that comes from within, a deep knowing that your steps are aligned with your purpose, even if no one else sees it. Misunderstanding is inevitable. Silence, however, is a choice. It's not about allowing disrespect, but about prioritizing your peace. Every time you choose not to react, you conserve energy, you stay in control, you move with clarity. The moment you stop explaining and start evolving in silence is the moment you begin to reclaim your personal power fully. There is immense power in silence, clarity in privacy, and freedom in restraint. These are not abstract ideals, they are practices that can be woven into the fabric of your daily life. When you begin to live with intention and hold your life with a sense of sacredness, you stop offering it up for casual consumption. You realize that not everything is meant to be shared, not everyone deserves access, and not every moment must be explained. Privacy is not about isolation, it is about protection. It is about knowing the value of your inner world and refusing to let it be diluted by noise, opinions, or external expectations. Silence gives you the room to hear your own thoughts clearly, to observe your growth without interference, and to navigate your journey with focus. In that stillness, you start to recognize what truly matters, and often it is not what others think, say, or expect. You begin to notice how often people speak to fill the void, to avoid their own discomfort, or to Silence gives you the room to hear your own thoughts clearly, to observe your growth without interference, and to navigate your journey with focus. In that stillness you start to recognize what truly matters, and often it is not what others think, say, or expect. You begin to notice how often people speak to fill the void, to avoid their own discomfort, or to impress those who don't even matter. Restraint teaches you the value of your energy. It forces you to place intention behind your actions and words. It reveals what is necessary and what is merely noise. There is also a quiet dignity in self-containment. When you no longer feel the urge to prove yourself or expose your path, you become centered, grounded, and difficult to shake. You walk lighter, carry less emotional weight, and begin to embody a deeper, unspoken strength. You don't need the world to see your every move. You only need to move with purpose. In the age of constant is documented, posted, and shared, it becomes easy to forget the value of moving in silence. But there is something profoundly powerful about working in the shadows, beyond the gaze of those who might doubt you, envy you, or seek to derail your progress. When you stop performing for an audience, you begin to align with your true self. Your actions become cleaner, more intentional, and free of the distortion that comes with needing to be seen or praised. Purpose does not crave attention. It does not require recognition to be valid. It simply moves forward, day by day, with consistency and clarity. When you learn to move like this, quietly, confidently, and without the need for announcement, you free yourself from external control. You no longer live in reaction to others' opinions, nor do you get lost in the illusion of progress that comes from merely talking about your goals. You begin to understand that the most meaningful achievements happen in the silence of disciplined effort, not in the noise of external validation. You become more dangerous when you stop announcing your intentions. You become more focused when your energy is not scattered by constant explanation. You begin to realize that real strength is built when no one is watching, and true transformation happens when the work is done in solitude, not performance.